So this is insane. So Bad Bunny is basically just about to, or is just ended his residency, which he put on in Puerto Rico, which is a 30-date residency of Bad Bunny performance, 30 dates. And it's been reported that he has basically bought in over $200 million for the Puerto Rican economy with this residency. So with these 30 dates, with these 30 shows that he's put on in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, his home country, his home birthplace, his town, basically has generated over $200 million for the Puerto Rican economy. Now, this is insane. This is probably up there with some of the most profitable, successful, commercially successful residencies, music residencies that any sort of global superstar or artist has ever done. And I think what's more impressive is that he did it in Puerto Rico. He did it in his hometown. He generated all this revenue and income for his hometown, for his country, for Puerto Rico. Now this is insane, and it's also going to tie into basically what happened with his tour announcement. So Bad Bunny did release his 6th studio album earlier this year, right, in January, start of the year. It was Debí tirar más fotos, which basically means I should have taken more photos. And obviously a huge success. Bad Bunny, easily one of the top 10, top 15 artists in the world, numbers-wise, streaming-wise, probably even higher. And essentially, you know, he's at the peak of his powers. And doing a 30-date residency in your home country when it's not US, not Las Vegas, or, you know, wherever these residencies usually take place. You normally see them in Vegas or the Wynn Hotel and this and that, MGM, whatever it is. My man did it in Puerto Rico, bro. And not only did he do it in Puerto Rico, but he flipping smashed it. It sold out, 30 dates, $200 million for his economy. So we're going to break this down. We're going to look into this. But the other really interesting thing that this ties into is basically that with his tour announcement, which, you know, his global world tour happening next year for this album, he doesn't have any US dates. He doesn't have any North American tour dates on this tour list, on these dates that he's announced. He's going all over the world. He's going to Europe, Asia, everywhere you could think of, LATAM. I don't think he's got any African dates. But there are no US North American tour dates. He's not touring the US. So we're going to get into this. This is really super interesting stuff. But we're going to start with basically the residency. So Bad Bunny was basically doing 30 shows in his in his residency. We're going to bring up the article now. So bagging $200 million for Puerto Rico's economy. The curtain draw is drawing close on Bad Bunny's San Juan residency. No me quiero ir de aquí. I don't want to leave here on September 14th. The 30-show run has attracted and dazzled tourists the world over while injecting an incredible $200 million into Puerto Rico's economy. So you got to think, right, like when they say $200 million, we're not necessarily talking about ticket sales here. We're talking about there's a residency in Puerto Rico and fans from all over the globe. Like, obviously, a lot will probably be coming from the US, considering there is no tour dates announced for next year in that territory. But you basically have to think about it like when you book to go see an artist in a different country or a festival or whatever, it's not just your flipping ticket that you're paying for. You're paying for flights, hotels, accommodation, food, tourist attractions, travel. Like, there's all these different elements to a residency of sorts that basically generates huge amounts of revenue or money for the economy. So this 200 million, it's not just ticket sales. Let's bear that in mind. But either way, what an incredible feat. You know, over 200 million for Puerto Rico's local economy. So it goes on. It's no secret that concerts are a major driver of tourism. We've seen that across the globe. This is more evident than ever with Taylor Swift's record-breaking Eras tour. Yeah, alongside other big-name outings like Beyonce's Renaissance and Cowboy Carter tours. We need to look into that because I'm sure it didn't. There was a few dates that didn't sell out. Maybe in the UK, I can't remember. I remember seeing something about Beyonce's tour. But so what Bad Bunny decided to do instead this year was a residency in Puerto Rico. So this is the interesting part. So an estimated 600,000 visitors, many of whom came from the US, Latin America, and Europe, either have or are expected to attend Bad Bunny shows in San Juan. According to the island's non-profit tourism board, Discover Puerto Rico, these tourists will have brought in almost $200 million in direct economic impact. So this is it. So that money includes 48,000 hotel stays at the time when bookings are famously light in preparation for the hurricane season. Really interesting, right? Also covers the restaurant meals and dining, take-home souvenirs, ground and air transportation, and even salsa dancing lessons. So this is an incredible thing that Bad Bunny's done to bring this much, generate this much wealth within his economy, Puerto Rican economy, and do that by the power of his artist, the power of his brand, the power of his music, bringing people from all over the world 30 dates in Puerto Rico, in San Juan, right? What an incredible residency. I believe it kicked off in San Juan. Sorry, it kicked off in summer, so 30 days. Yeah, so the first 9 performances, which kicked off on July 15th, were exclusive to residents. There we go. So again, Bad Bunny servicing his people, his country, allowing the Puerto Ricans to enjoy the first 9 shows of this incredible residency before it opens up to the world. So certainly a man of Puerto Rico, a man of the people, you could say, right? So incredible impact. And like I said, it wasn't just about the money here. It was very much about, reimagining what it means to use his celebrity power, reimagining the idea of an experience for people to come and watch you perform and watch you, consume your music, be part of an experience, enjoy the shows, enjoy the whole experience, right? Now, starting next year, Bad Bunny is going on a global tour. So this was his residency for Puerto Rico, but next year he is going on a global tour. Let's see if we can find this global tour. I think it's the name of the album tour. So let's see if we can get. Oh, what have I done there? Let me just pull this back up quickly. So basically, we're looking at Debbie tirar más fotos. Debbie tirar más fotos. Tour dates. Okay, so we're gonna pull this up. Let me share this so you can see this. So, Debbie tirar más fotos World Tour is an upcoming 6th concert tour by Puerto Rican rapper Bad Bunny. Artist, I'd say. It's an all-stadium world tour. Stadium only. Big numbers, right? Huge numbers. So, let's have a look at the dates here. We've got some, I think they're the records. So if we look at the dates, so he's kicking off in Dominican Republic, in the DR. Then he's got Costa Rica, he's got Mexico. Then he's got Colombia, Peru, Chile, Argentina, Brazil. Then end of February, start of March, he's headed to Australia. Then he's going to hit up Japan. Then he's heading to Europe. So Spain, Portugal, Germany, Netherlands, UK, France, Sweden, Poland, Italy, Belgium. So this is a big tour, right? And this is look, even there, 2 dates at Tottenham Hotspur London Stadium. I'm not sure if it's sold out, but I'm pretty sure it's probably very close to being sold out if it's not being sold out already, right? Now what you'll see is obviously the main omission from this list is North America. There are no North American mainland US shows on these tour dates. And it was quite interesting what Bad Bunny said when he addressed this, which we can pull up here, basically. And one of the key reasons that he's actually not doing a US dates is because of ICE. Like, because of potential ICE raids. Now that is incredible, right? The fact that one of the biggest artists in the world is not going to include US tour dates on his world tour because of concerns around ICE. So ICE immigration and customs enforcement in the US. Obviously, there's been a huge amount of political. We're not a political channel here, but there's been a huge amount of political talk around ICE and immigration across the globe for many countries. And I think it's fair to say that within the US, there's obviously a lot of discussion and activity around immigration, mass immigration from LATAM regions, from Mexico and other countries into the US, right? And that's obviously been a concern for a lot of people. I think overall immigration, we won't talk about that topic, but in general, you're looking at people like Bad Bunny now being affected by this, and therefore not putting shows on in his world tour in the US because of concerns over possible ICE raids. So let's have a look at what he talked about here. So, as his lucrative Puerto Rico residency draws to a close, Bad Bunny opened up to ID in a recent interview about his decision to omit the United States mainland from his upcoming tour. The musician explained that the musician explained that he did so out of fear that ICE could be outside his concerts. So just imagine, we're talking about a global phenomenon superstar doing a world tour, and he omits basically one of the biggest markets in the world, which not only is a potential loss of revenue, but a huge bulk of his fan base will be based in the US, and they're no longer going to be able to watch him on tour because of these ICE concerns. These are potential ICE raid concerns. So he commented here, there were many reasons why I didn't show up in the US, and none of them were out of hate. I've performed there many times, he's explained. All of the shows have been successful. All of them have been magnificent. I've enjoyed connecting with Latinos who have been living in the US. But specifically for a residency here in Puerto Rico, when we were an unincorporated territory of the US, people from the US could come here to see the show. He continued. Latinos and Puerto Ricans of the United States could also travel here, or any part of the world. But there was the issue of fucking ICE could be outside. That is, that's basically what he's saying. And it's something that we were talking about and very concerned about. The article continues. Speculation about his decision sparked earlier this summer when the Puerto Rican native said performances in the US were unnecessary. Fans in the US, he explained, have had no shortage of opportunity to see him perform within the last 6 years. That's true. He's been very present. He's been very active. He's done all the PR stuff. He's done all the TV shows, Saturday Night Lives, the Kimmels or Fallons or whatever it is or was now. And he's done a lot of tours and shows before as well in the US. So that is true. And also, obviously, the residency in Puerto Rico did provide an opportunity for people to hop on a plane from the US. But I think at the same time, when a global superstar is touring, you would expect that they are coming to a vicinity near you. You would expect that you're able to basically go to see them without having to travel to a whole brand new city or country or flipping, continent even, right? You would expect that. Unless all they're doing is the residency and it's an experience for you to go see that, to go watch that. You're paying for that whole experience and it's like a one-off thing. It's like if Michael did do those O2 dates, in London or whatever, I think Prince did a long residency in the UK before. There's one place, you can go see him in that place and that's it. He's not touring, so there's no point you waiting for him or her to come to your city. But the fact that he is touring and now all these US fans are going to necessarily miss out on that is a bit of a shame. I think, like I said, it's a huge potential loss in revenue generation. You think about the commercial, the promoter side of things, they're missing out on basically a whole bunch of successful shows and profit from not doing that US leg of the tour, that North American leg of the tour. So it is interesting, and then obviously, as a fan, not everyone's in a position to be able to just travel to Puerto Rico and go watch him perform, or a different city. So it's it's a bit of a sticky one. I'd say it's a bit of a sticky one. The article continue where Bad Bunny basically it talks about Bad Bunny being very vocal about ICE in recent months, posting footage of ICE arrests on social media that showed agents detaining people in the street. I've done a lot of shows here in Puerto Rico, and I don't think I felt so much energy, the pride, the sense of homeland that unites generations. So I think there is a political edge, a political spin on this decision as well. And fair enough, if that's, what Bad Bunny's on, I totally understand where he's coming from. ICE and the immigration discussions across the world, let alone in the US, have been extremely difficult. That we have seen people suffer. We've seen a huge amount of discrimination, racism, prejudice. Like, it's been a huge issue, and in a way as well. So you can look at it from the point of a commercial viewpoint, where like, why the hell would he not tour the US? Like, that is crazy. Maybe he could cut a deal, make sure there are no raids. Blah blah blah. In his tours, and people aren't getting arrested for no reason or for supposed reasons or whatnot. He could do that, right? But then on the other hand, he is in a very powerful position. He's a very extremely influential artist. He's a global superstar, and a lot of people watch him around the world. And taking a stance like this is actually really could be seen as taking a political stance, where it's like, well, actually, it's quite interesting when you think about it then, because they've shouted about this $200 million that he's generated for the Puerto Rican economy. He won't be generating anything for the US economy if he's not going to tour there. And at the end of the day, all this politics and socio-economic stuff, it's all about economics, all about money and power and control. So by withholding his services, withholding his tour from the US, maybe he's taken a stance in his own way. Maybe he's said, like, why should I bring revenue to a country that's not welcoming us, supposedly, when I can do it at home and generate money for our own economy? Maybe he's taking that stance, and that is more than fair and more than understandable. I think a lot of people would agree with that. So yeah, it's a really interesting topic. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you think that he shouldn't be missing out the US for his world tour. Let me know what your thoughts about the Puerto Rican residency and what a success that was, and if any of you even went to it or you saw him perform. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Appreciate the support and feedback as always. Until next time.